This is what I wrote in my journal on Saturday. He went up into the hills by himself to pray. That's Mark chapter 6, verse 46. That's what Jesus did. He went up into the hills by himself to pray. Do you ever do that? Do you ever go away just to spend time with God? I like to do that. It's really important for me. In fact, I like to take a whole day and just focus on the Lord. I'm able to get out into natural beauty where I can pretty much be by myself. I can enjoy the beauty of what God has created and worship Him in His own sanctuary made with His own hands. I love it. I'm also able to talk out loud to Him, just like I'm talking out loud to you. And rarely is there anybody around, which is a good thing because they probably think I was a little bit crazy. But when I'm able to do this, I'm really able to focus upon the Lord and just pour out my heart to Him. Talk to Him about the things that are important to me in my own personal life and also in my ministry, what I want to do for Him in extending His kingdom. The last time we talked about how we're all passionate for supernatural increase. We want to see an increase in the harvest. And to see supernatural increase, we need to live supernatural lifestyles. This is really an important part of it, I believe, is to take time with God by yourself. To be like Jesus and maybe go up onto a hill by yourself to pray. What I do is I bring my pack with me. Here, let's see. It's on my back. And in it, I've got my journal, my prayer journal. I've also got my Bible and some water and a little snack. And off I go. Now, right now, I live in Northern California where there's lots of beautiful places where I can hike. And I'm very grateful for that. But when I lived in India, in the city of Chandigarh, I was also able to find some places where I could go off by myself. Even in a very busy city, there was a lake there, Sukna Lake. And I would be able to go for hikes on the trails near the lake, and often I'd find places where there wouldn't be other people, and I could just get alone with the Lord. I talk to Him and I ask Him to speak to me, both through His written word and also by His Spirit. And I write these things down in my journal, just like we talked about before. So I really believe that it's vital for us to live lives of listening to Jesus and doing what He says. A regular quiet time is part of that. And I also would encourage you to think about taking a whole day and just be with Him. Let Him speak to you. Find out what He has to say. And I also urge you to write it down. Because if you're like me, eventually you'll forget. And we don't want to forget what He says to us. In fact, when I started my prayer walk today, actually I called a prayer hike. I spend most of the day hiking and talking to Him. And whenever there's something important that I want to write down, I put it in my journal. I stop, get my journal out, write it down. Or when I feel like God is bringing a scripture to my mind, I stop, get out my Bible, look it up. Sometimes I also write that down, certainly write down the verse, the references. And what I did today is, let me just get here into the light a little bit so you can see my face. What I did today was I started with some time of worship, and then I looked at my journal and reviewed the things that God has been speaking to me over the last week or so. What has He been saying? have I been following through with what he says? And if there are some things that I felt like he gave for me to do and haven't done them yet, I jot them down again and make sure that I eventually get to it. So, what about you? What would it take for you to be able to set aside a whole day with God? What would that take for you? And where would you go? Would it be good to just go into a room where you could have quiet time, a place to get away by yourself? Or would you want to go outside like I do? Find a good place to go for a walk. All of us are different. We have different ways to relate to God and different things that inspire us. And also, what would you talk to him about? What do you really need to hear from God about right now? Is it something in your personal life where you want to grow? Is it something that you want to talk to him about regarding relationships with other people, with your spouse, with your children, with your coworkers? You need wisdom. Could it be that you're just longing for greater fruit? See more people come to Jesus. See more people set free and grow in their relationship with him. To see God's kingdom expand. Whatever it is, if you're able to take a whole day with those topics or anything else that the Lord might bring to you during that day, I know that you will be encouraged by it. You'll be blessed. It'll help you to grow. That was Jesus' example for us. He lived his life as an example. He died for our rescue, and he's come to us as a friend. And this friend loves to spend time with us. Let's allow him that time.